Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Vicky 3. This is episode number 8. My short-term objective is to try to conquer Damagaram, which is going to involve making nice with Russia, who seems to be the one who wants to stand in our way this time, and kind of any of the others who may potentially stand in our way, as it might not be just a single nation that decides to intervene. So we do have some political influence that we can use to try to make nice with, well, others. You can see like the UK, yeah, they're back to being cautious towards us. So probably a good place to start. Denmark likes us. Netherlands like us just enough. France, of course, likes us, and the U.S. likes us. But right, I think it's quite clear who we have some issues with when it comes to the attitude. So Britain is the other one we need to once again make nice with. We're cordial at 43, but we're going to have to do just a little bit to get that back up. Them being cautious towards us is that slight worry. In the meantime, we have nothing under construction, so let's kind of find out where we're at regarding that. Slowly but surely, those radicals are declining. We're down to 250,000, under 250,000 now, and over the last year, it decreased by nearly 40,000. That's a big one, especially if we can continue to get that down, get those guys incorporated more and more and more into the state. Of course, the infrastructure, right? That was the big move last time. We completed our railway. How is it going to impact us? Well, first off, infrastructure is now better. Infrastructure has turned out the way we needed to go. So far, employment is full. It is because it's being subsidized, but we have just enough to do so. It's operating fully, and that's going to be that short-term key, as it's giving us that full infrastructure. Can it survive without the subsidies? Will it provide us the bonuses we need it to? That's something we could possibly test in the near future, but the weekly balance isn't awful with the production that it's giving us. But now that it is giving us the production, now that it's giving us that transportation, we might as well start using that, going back into the buildings that exist, the logging camps, railway. That's going to use up 10. We're going to see a big boost to what they're doing, and this is where it's going to trickle down to make that money back for us. That leaves us with 50. Will the fishing wharves use it? No. Livestock ranches? No. Really depends on the good. Banana? Well, that's going to use 20. It's a lot. That is a lot. But there's a lot of banana production. Yeah, so that's going to improve. Cotton plantations can. And that's using the other 20. Okay, well that's it. That's what we had. Okay, all we have is a government administration in Dahomey. So that's one area where they are struggling to, well, really do anything useful. Do we want to add something like a shipyard or put another food industry in place? I don't think we're big enough to have separate food industries. I think you would just double up the one you have. Have we started the arms industry? Yes. Okay, we do have our arms industry. Yeah, food industry. Let's just go ahead and double that up. It's doing quite well. It looks like the textile mill is also doing well and could get doubled up itself. Coffee and tobacco are both doing well, so let's go ahead and add to those. That logging camp. This is the one that's making the hardwood. That first sulfur mine is doing okay, but not great. The dye plantation is doing well. Okay, sure. Looks like we could add that third banana plantation as we're on the edge. We can make that a second cotton plant. Glassworks is doing okay. The furniture manufacturer is doing okay. The paper mill is doing, yeah, tolerable. And the tooling workshop, they're both tolerable. But adding in something industry-wise, a steel mill I'm worried about because we don't actually have the base resource to make the steel. But as we're part of the French market, we would import what we need. Chemical plant. That could be something, as we have a lot of farming. Let's do the chemical plant. And it looks like you can handle a third logging camp here. The conflict next to us remains undecided. It's still ongoing. The occupation has been happening there for a long time. Fortunately, the devastation is all cleared up. And it looks like the fight, for the most part, is happening over here now. We have a peace treaty. Hello, hello, hello. U.S. reclaiming quite a bit of territory compared to Mexico. And yeah, look at that, way down. Is that all the way to Mexico City or not quite? I think Mexico, yeah, not quite. But 2 states within Mexico itself, and then just one of Mexico remains within here, plus the Oklahoma territory. The U.S. looking a little different than normal. No wonder Russia is suddenly taking an interest in things, as Russia is colonizing Africa. Say what? Never thought I'd see the day that they would be interested in anywhere other than, somewhere right around here or over here. Why would they be interested in that? Because, maybe outlets through the Black Sea and into the Mediterranean. But I would never think of seeing Russia way down here. Finally, we are seeing an expansion of the fight that is ongoing here. And Russia is nearly to that 25, but I don't know if we're at that 5-year wait just yet. So Britain finally making their way in so this was Britain's ally, and it was occupied, and now Britain steps in, and it's just rolling right on through. They just took their sweet time to get in here. They'll have full capitulation here soon enough, I'm sure. Actually, this could be a good time to make a diplomatic play if it's possible, as they're going to be distracted and less interested, right? Not until next year. Not until next April. April is when we can make the next attempt. In the meantime, our first of 8 upgrades that we are working through. First one will be done here with an expansion of our food industry. By the way, we are on the verge of a 13. There it is. We've done it, and we're over 35% literate now as well. Down to 244,000. It's not declining quite as fast this year as it was, but it's still declining. We still have that slight negative balance, but we have well over a million in gold reserves, so we're not really tapping into it at this point. We're just fine. The diplomatic pact is what's costing us. France is taking nearly 6,000 from us. Still less than what our military wages are. Not much more than what our government wages are, but we'd have a very, very healthy economy if not for the subject status that we find ourselves in. But at the same time, the better we are, the more we're a target. When you're dirt poor, you're more likely to get ignored. There's nothing of value. The more you create value, the more they want to take that value, especially before you get, like, say, Japan, that goes from isolationist to world power. It's a trade-off. They want to get you while you're still weak, but showing signs of, hey, look, there's potential here. Gosh, I like that potential. I want that potential for myself. You play a game like Football Manager. That's called being a wonder kid. You show yourself to be a wonder kid, and suddenly, popular target. To get to the rubber mastication, we've got to get through chemical bleaching next, so we'll take that. That one will take a little short of 3 years. Nice little farming boom for us. That should help, possibly, anyway. Yeah, it does help a bit. Nearly a neutral balance right now. I'm okay with a neutral balance, especially with so much in terms of reserve money. Russia likes us plenty now. It is January. We've got a few months to go until we can try again with Damagaram. And the war here is done. That looks like that's now UK territory, is it not? No. They must have just taken them as a subject or protectorate, something along those lines, status-wise. Okay, it's time. Or not. Relations are too high. France could side with us, with Sokoto and Bornu on their side, but with France siding with us, then that would be that would make it a sure bet. Others would probably stay out of it unless they absolutely despise France and just want to take France. But we are too friendly with Damagaram, so that's an easy enough fix. We could take 10 infamy. We're not infamous as it is, so let's go ahead and expel those diplomats. That'll quickly bring it down by 30. And now we're neutral. Now we are neutral with Damagaram. So let's go back in and see what. Yep, it's back on against Sokoto and Bornu. That's tricky, but as long as we can get France on our side, then that would be the ticket. Diplomatic play underway. They instantly do have Bornu and Sokoto siding with them. So that much is clear. But we've got to try to sway France. Looks like Denmark could be swayed, that they have a huge force. Okay. First phase, sway options, and there's no play that we can make, apparently. I don't know if getting Denmark would really do enough for us. Damagaram does not have the extra support of Sokoto right now. They do have Bornu, which is looking like 30 battalions. So let's do some checking here, because this does not mean it's over if France does not join us, especially if Denmark is willing. Their power projection is just 14 for Damagaram. With Bornu, it's a power projection of 15, so they have a combined power projection of just 29. We have a 41. We could likely take them ourselves. And we actually somehow have a very healthy balance suddenly. France is great power number 1 at the moment, by the way. So that's very helpful for us. And we have that one can sway Denmark country. Let's hold off on the sway for now. But we do need to mobilize sooner rather than later. Hello. The Netherlands. Okay. Major power number 10. Military is 46. I don't think Denmark is going to be minor power 13. They're 3 spots behind, but they only have 22. I don't think they're going to match with the Netherlands very well at all. I wish, there was more detail about click to see sway options. What's our sway option here? Offer an obligation is what they would accept. Now, do we automatically give the obligation, or does that obligation only happen if the war takes place? If there's no war, do they still have an obligation? And like I said, I'm not sure we're a match. I don't think Denmark is necessarily a match for the Netherlands. Let's try to find out. 286 is the power projection for the Netherlands. That's pretty big. 132. Huge deficit between the two, so no. Denmark is not a match for the Netherlands in this case. And our plus 10 advantage certainly does not make up that deficit. So we're going to have to back down for now. Here, by the way, is why things turned out the way it did. So there's a defensive pact with Damagaram and Bagurmi. And then they have an alliance with Bornu. So there's Bagurmi. So we're having to fight a lot of regional powers if we're going to do that. We could maybe get the right support. I don't know why France didn't. Why they weren't necessarily interested there. You can only get into the reasons if you can actually click on it, and you can't click on it when there's no relative reason. So that's a little unfortunate that that's set up the way it is. But our balance is way better all of a sudden. I think our balance is better to the point where if it continues to be like this, we're going to want to improve the infrastructure here as well. I mean, we're only in excess by 1 here, but that's about to become worse here. It's already 8 over, so if we can afford it over here, we should be able to afford it here as well. So we're going to add a railway. Be nice if we can get out of subsidizing it here at some stage. We just don't know how it would do without the subsidy. See, it's almost making enough money. Turn the subsidy off. We actually have what's... We can change from cargo prioritization to wooden passenger carriages, which would improve transportation by plus 15 and would consume wood. It looks like it would add more funding for us. It would hurt the infrastructure by 5, but we have more than enough excess right now. Standard of living increased in Togo to 13, but transportation at 65. So if we have 65 for that transportation, we have 15 extra now. I don't think making friends with Borno is really going to help us because of the alliance. So we can probably just put an end to improving relations there. It's a hefty cost, but the construction center, we finally have an economy that's strong enough to start supporting the construction sector. We're too slow the way things are. We finally opened the pathway to rubber mastication. Of course, we have those rubber plantations available to us that we would love to get onto that French market. And with this very, very nice balance that we have right now, without going overboard on anything, we're going to try to get that construction sector and a railway. Two expenses, but we've seen that long term they can make a difference. They can make a real difference, shifting the economy in that direction. You just have to have a big enough economy to get there in the first place, which we just didn't have at Darfur, but we definitely have it here. I don't know how this is going to look for us. 700 extra government expenses is going to create a development boom. I don't know what that development boom is necessarily going to do. It's a big expense to take a chance on. It's 5 years. The way those radicals continue to decrease, but just slowly. In fact, it's actually kind of just leveled off, 220,000 now. It's been a long time since we've checked in on Dahomey. Population is growing, 700,000 now. That infrastructure bonus, though, is very much helping. And the population, just slowly shifting. Fawn was at about 80%, now it's at 79%. The Yoruba seem to be taking more of a conversion hit, but Akin still only not even quite 5%. However, the Sunni are almost negated. They're under 1% now. Pop growth is good there. How's it looking? Yeah, Togo's pop growth is definitely coming up. So that's one area where we are doing well. I'm wondering if I should implement that here as well as Akin. Meanwhile, back over here, there's a lot of Mossi, but the Mossi aren't very rebellious towards us. Overall urbanization is at 275. 200 here, so it's just reached level 2. We're at 186. And it's that next project. We're working on that chemical plant right now. And we are now at the halfway stage. We have played 5 decades. We have 5 decades to go, 50 years into the playthrough. And Ashanti is doing fairly well for itself. However, at some point you figure that France will probably try to just absorb us. Be the end of that. But other than our subjugation status, things have gone very well. We've been sitting and resting on the fact that things are going well and we're growing the economy. But the laws have been unchanged. And there's been no way to change them because the landowners are in control and have been in control throughout. And the landowners are very happy with the way things are right now. Only changes that I could make to the government, are the best legitimacy that I could give us by getting the landowners out, is 11%, getting the armed forces in their place. Now, the armed forces at least do have a certain amount of clout, and we could regain that legitimacy, you would think. But the king, he's part of the landowners group. He's very favorable towards them, but he is a pacifist. The rural folk are the ones who want the changes. That's why they've been in the government for a while and why we've been bolstering them, but they're still only at 15%. I cannot suppress the landowners until we get them out of the government. This is a huge, huge problem if we do. But the radicals aren't, it's not a huge change. If we're going to make a play, if we're going to take a chance, This is that chance. Now, economically, I'm already taking a chance with the railroad, but we've seen it succeed. Taking a chance with the construction sector. We've seen it fail, but we've also seen it go away. So we can make it go away if we're going to do something. If we're going to move forward and get out of our backwards ways, it's got to be here, and it's got to be suppressing the landowners. Have the throne. We want to wait on the heir apparent. It's only 49. The king is only 49 years old. Very disliked. The heir apparent, he's also in the landowners, though, and he's even more hated. We're going to take a shot here, short term, see what can happen. We're going to instantly try to suppress the landowners, though. Now that they're out, suppress. Try to take care of that clout a little bit, get them out of charge. You know, they're a tiny group, but they just have all of the clout because they own everything. To make a diplomatic play, or a diplomatic play within our own government, just a little bit, let's see what happens with the suppression of the landowners. Do they lose anything? Plus, we have this low legitimacy at the moment, so their clout drops 2/10 almost immediately. Does it tank our government with the low legitimacy, or our economy? I mean, what's going to happen? Okay, so far the economy seems untouched. We're almost a month or two in, and the landowners are slowly losing their clout. It's not turning into bonuses for the rural folk or the armed forces at the moment, but it is going the right direction. And actually, look at that, the radicals are falling away, not going up. Rural folk up to 15% now. Big negative to the size of the government and the overall government clout. Slowly but surely. So the traditionalism, the land-based taxation are the first couple we would like to see changed. Now, the landowners would not be happy if we passed agrarianism, but they're no longer in the government, so we could pass the agrarianism. Our taxation capacity penalty would go away with this one, but we would not have a bureaucracy boost, but I think that's easily covered. The agrarianism is the first step because we need to get out of, debate chance is high, advance chance is okay, success chance is very low, but it's not going to stall out because somebody's not in the government right now. All right, our first play against the landowners is underway, and meanwhile they're slowly losing their clout, and they are definitely being suppressed right now. As the rural folk increase, and the armed forces for that matter increase, the chances are going the right direction, and the landowners are just getting weaker and weaker and weaker by the day, by the month. Now the economy, it's not doing as well. Now the reason why it's not doing well is we do have that construction sector now. So we finally have one construction center. We've gone from a 5 to a 7. We're going to get work done not much more quickly, but 40% faster than before. And actually, our queue is nearly done. So let's kind of get back in and check on how things are doing. And we want to expand our textile mill to a level 2. The food industry is doing coffee, tobacco, sugar, cotton. Glassworks is doing well. Okay, so is the furniture manufacturer. The furniture one might be a good thing for us to expand upon. Okay, we do have a slight negative balance at the moment. We're okay though. Rural folk up to 16%. The landowners continue to decline in power. And I think we're coming up on that 5-year window of another chance at Demagoram. Yes, it has been 5 years. So Sokoto and Bornu, while Russia and would die, would possibly side with them. And nobody, not even France, looking to side with us, or Denmark, or the Netherlands. Let's check back in on what has happened with Russia. Why do they suddenly not like us? I'm going to hold off on that play just a little bit. That didn't look too encouraging, but at the same time, when I start breaking things down, most of those around us seem like they would actually stay out of it. But we thought that before, and they ultimately didn't. How they feel versus what they do can play out very differently. And not a bad idea to get after it once again. Sokoto really likes us. So Sokoto doesn't want to intervene. So I am actually thinking that Bornu, getting them happy, could help keep them out of the fight, making it a little bit easier. But that's not going to happen soon. We're not going to wait for them to like us because we know that Bornu with Damagaram is not strong enough to handle us. With the French market, I do think we do have the opportunity to improve our military, make them stronger. Right now, the economy, though, isn't quite there. It's not an expense I want right this second. That railway is nearly done. That is going to come with an expense up front, and that is a little bit worrying. But we'll have the 65 transportation that we'll be able to return through upgrading a lot of these industries to rail transportation. I'm definitely curious what's going to happen if we turn off the railway subsidy. I think the new one, when it's done, we'll turn it off and see how it goes, because that's the big thing, is it comes with an upfront expense. How useful is it without the subsidy? Construction goods are definitely costing us a fair bit, right? No subsidy on the second railway. Let's see how well it does on its own. So far it's +2 infrastructure, +4 transportation is that enough? Can it get by without the subsidy? Looks like our hands are pretty tied on the subsidy, and we are losing pretty rapidly all of a sudden. I think France is the reason why the subjugation fee that we're paying went up. Now that's just not employing enough to do anything for us. So the subsidy is going to have to go on. We will slowly shift things. That's 10. All right, so the logging camp is the first one we're going to switch over. Get back in with that railway. New Balance, not great. It's a little worse than where we were. We're going to have to balance this out as we're losing a little too rapidly. 25% radicals, and standard of living is close, so that's a big ask. It would easily cover what we need to cover, but can we get our way out of this through luxury taxes, like on luxury furniture? That covers a lot of it right there without hurting anything. So we're going to try that first. We do have the ability to bring in a little bit more. So we could back off on, like, we're encouraging agricultural industry. We're doing the promote national values in Dahomey that we can stop doing. Suppressing the landowners cost 200. Bolstering the rural folk is costing 200. By the way, they're down under 35% now. And meanwhile, there's less and less radicals all the time. So I think we're going to have to turn off promote national values. Cancel that. That gets us back to 100. And consumption tax, wine. There you go, nearly neutral. So we've now, not in the easiest way, but we've now managed to cover off 2 railways and subsidies for them, and building out that construction sector a little bit to where we're now growing the economy faster. So a little upfront cost for some long-term stability, a little bit of a bold economic play, and we are just about covering off now, and then also making political play that is so far going the right direction, right? Those landowners are getting weaker and weaker and weaker. They are not going to be happy. They're going to be quite radical. We have got to just continue to weaken them. By the way, standard of living continues to rise, 14.4 and climbing. With a small government and low legitimacy, it's taking a very long time to try to make this law change happen. But we waited 30 years with nothing happening. So making a play is definitely the way to go. This is slowly improving the legitimacy. I bet it's higher than 11% right now. But either way, things are happening slowly at this stage. The stall chance is now at 35%. How did that happen? How do we suddenly have a 35% stall chance? Let's check out what's going on within the government, because we had a 0%. I'm guessing that's the landowners We're up to 14, so we are up to 14. Let's see what we can do about improving that. We'll adding the devout. Intelligentsia, no. And the landowners hate our guts. It would give us back the legitimacy. However, they would instantly stop the law from passing. So the monarchy gives them a 25% bonus. This may fail, folks. It may fail. In which case we would probably want to restore the landowners to power. Or we just continue on because they are getting weaker and weaker, and let the slow change happen. Because eventually we'll get another shot at it, right? Let them slowly, and the economy with the changes we're continuing to make, the sector's growing. We're back into a positive balance, increasingly so. Landowners actually gained a couple percent. Something happened, and I think it was the devout. The devout are no longer powerful. They had something time out, some sort of bonus that they had that timed out. Rubber mastication. Okay, rubber mastication is finally unlocked, and that will play into our hands of opening the rubber market to us. We'll try to go right away and add in 2 rubber plantations. We might even move it up the queue a bit. Oh yeah, 17% chance of passing, 46% chance of the debate, and 36% chance that it will stall. 1 month till we have that checkpoint. Alright, unequal treaties. It did not go well. A trade agreement with the US. Oh, all it is an obligation to them, but the enactment chance goes away. As in, it went to debate. So it didn't stall out, but it went to debate, and it's having a negative. You know what, let's take the obligation to the US. We're a French subject anyway, so it's not like it's, well, what's it gonna do, right? What's it gonna do? Same issues though. Things are not looking great on that. That first rubber plantation will be up and running pretty soon. Alright, here is that new rubber plantation. Wow, look at that productivity right off the bat. We're just getting started. We're not even using rail transportation at the moment. I'm going to get that on the rail transportation right away. Oh, and it's only going to use 5. Number 2 rubber plantation in the world already. We're going to push that right on up to 5. A strong piece of our economy. Alright folks, well, we have seen some progress. We have seen some attempts to do things and just feeling it out. The landowners continually are the ones who, anytime somebody else gets weaker, the landowners are the ones that are stealing that political clout. So the rural folk have gained 3%. The landowners ultimately, every step back they take, they get a little half step forward again, and so they've only dropped 2%. And they are the ones that are holding up the legitimacy of the government as a whole, making it really difficult on us to get this law passed, as we've already seen it have a poor debate once, and it's taking forever without any legitimacy. You know, it's taking 4 years to try to pass it because the landowners are there kind of barking in the ears, slowing down the progress, slowing down the chances. So we are seeing how that works, why it works that way, and why ultimately we've been tied all along. Now, our chances of getting Bornu out of a war is nearly there, so we might actually make our next attempt on Damagaram here shortly, once that gets to 25%. But we're going to wait till next time to see what happens. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.